Oh my gosh, it's a bad day for ComicsGate. Ethan Van Sciver is just going ballistic because of the Mindy Wheeler and Mike Wheeler Rainbow the Brute book that they put up on Kickstarter. He is doubling down so hard and getting his minions to make it look like there's a movement involved again, too. And so there's a wall of text, just total cope about just how bad things have gotten, pretending like there's some great thing going on here. This is a great meme right here where he's attacking common America. He always called it girly and all this stuff. And then he's got his Diary of Heather Swain weird thing here, which I think that looks like a dude, but it's a transgender. I don't know what's happening, but obviously the common America art looks way better. And that is the truth on that. And that's the hard truth he has to deal with. And that's exactly why he goes so hard at them. He goes hard at them because their art's so beautiful. He goes hard at me because my storytelling just runs circles around anything he'll ever be able to do. And this is the name of ComicsGate. It's about control and credentialism. The mainstream industry was all about just making sure Marvel and DC were just something that is the only thing that matters, the only thing that people pay attention to. And then they squeezed out independent books because of that in the comic shops. If you looked in the late 80s, early 90s, there was this big independent resurgence. And the whole point of flooding the market with the books, flooding the market with crowdfund campaigns, it's the same tactic, guys. Was just try to squeeze everybody out so that nobody else could get any airtime or oxygen or get noticed. And if they do, they just try to end up destroying them somehow. And that's what the whole mainstream industry has been all about. It's a big whisper network. And what happened was Van Sciver just took that ethos, took that leftist sort of corporate mentality and brought it into ComicsGate and then, built this ComicsGate Kings where you have to be a Marvel and DC artist or somebody I say so because I'm a Marvel and DC artist. It's the same thing. So if you are looking for a Marvel and DC artist to lead a movement in culture, to change things, to actually build better comics, to actually be about some values or something like that, that was looking in the wrong place. And a lot of us did. I got a lot of comments because I said people were suckered into Rainbow the Brute. And a lot of people were like, yeah, it was a sucker. But I got a couple yesterday that were also like, how dare you call us sucker? Okay, first off, stop getting so offended over like people just telling the truth on the internet. That's number one. You don't need to act like that. You were suckered. It's okay. You can come back from that, but you were suckered in backing Rainbow the Brute. It is a book you paid $50 for or whatever for the project, and it's 5 years and it's not going to get done. I mean, that is the definition of suckered. And if you backed another campaign after that and another campaign after that, that's still being suckered because guess what? They're not coming out, right? Very, very funny stuff. But yeah, just don't get offended over that, guys. I mean, this is silly. And here's the thing. We need to build a real movement about actually reading comic books. And the less we get into variant covers and all new number one first issues, just back to mainstream comics or the new crowdfund campaign to pay for the last crowdfund campaign, the more we can actually build a healthy movement. Now, what I've seen going on is the healthiest movement is in webcomics. And what happens in webcomics is people build readership where people just read, and then people come in and subscribe because they want to support, because they actually support what they're reading. And they build Patreons and the like. I do Substack because Substack is a really good free speech platform, and I'm about free speech, right? Patreon doesn't allow that. And so this is what we're doing. I'm posting up Flying Sparks, my old stuff, every day. Free pages for you to read because I know this book is one of the best superhero graphic novels of the last decade. I've been told so by a Hugo Award nominated editor. So when an editor tells you that, you know you've got gold. This has sold thousands and thousands of copies. And because of that, we know that we have something special here. So I don't know. I might bring Flying Sparks back as this grows. We're going to see what happens as we grow over the course of this. We've got a huge subscriber base now. I've been promoting this the last 3 weeks, and a bunch of new people have signed up. We do have paid subscriptions. We have free ones, which I want you on the free one, just so I stay in contact with you. Substack's great because I directly contact you too. And I also have exclusives we've got 2 exclusive comic books. Like, who does this? Like, we give more content here and more comics. We produce more stories than anybody else out there. And here's the reason why. Like, the indie markets, they do a Kickstarter every year. You get 1 comic book a year or whatever. Outside of Eric July, there's not much going on like, people actually really putting out a lot of work. And in comics, even in the indies, like when you get into Image Comics, when you get into Dark Horse and you see like Tony Fleecs putting out his books or Terry Moore putting out his books or whatever, they come out with an issue every month at least. Sometimes the guys have 2-3 issues every month. You're talking like 15, 30 issues a year. Chuck Dixon comes out with so many books a year. That's how comics is supposed to work. And so that's what we're building here and actually providing. It's totally the opposite of ComicsGate. I'm trying to peel everybody off of the mindset of what you get an exclusive trading card and a variant that only is available for 48 hours. That's all fake. Like, it's all FOMO, and it's not about the stories. It's not about superheroes. It's not about comic books. It's just about a fake boomer collector's market, right? And so we're building it the way that it should be here. Like I said, Webtoon, Tapas, this is how everybody does it. And those guys get thousands of paid subscribers for this kind of thing. So we just got to adjust the mentality of the readership here to get away from that and into this. So that's what we're doing. That's part of the cultural movement we're building here. And thanks, guys, for making this a success so far. It's been awesome. We're growing fast. The channel's growing fast here, too. It's in the description below. And thanks for bearing with me. Again, I know people get annoyed when I talk about this stuff sometimes, but it's so important. I have to drill this in because we do have to make this about comics, and we have to make this about comics first. And so that's why I'm here. You tune in to see whatever funny drama's going on. You check out the comics, you read them. That's what we're doing. And so thank you for being here. It's in the description below. I also have a web store if you want to grab my books directly and get physical copies. They are there, and I appreciate everybody who reads. All right. So here's what happened after this. Very funny stuff. Like I said, Mike and Minnie Wheeler posted this Rainbow the Brute thing where they're going to come out with that before the Ethan's version, which is spelled differently, and it's a totally different comic book. It ever comes out. So his is actually going to be a copy of theirs because he hasn't worked on his. It doesn't exist, right? Right now he just has an idea. He doesn't have a comic book, which is funny. So theirs actually ends up being the real comic book, and his ends up being the parody. I had the same situation, because I actually came out with Robo-Toad Wreck Manlet, my cybernetic character, robot frog character, whatever, toad character, first. And actually, Cyberfrog Wrecked Planet came out years after this came out. So Ethan Van Sciver copies us, is what happens. Because if you just look, I mean, everybody has ideas. I can have an idea of a superhero who, gets his powers from reading books because I like to read a lot of books, right? Well, you could take that. It's it's like I didn't make it, right? It's not a comic book. You didn't steal that, right? And that's kind of what's going on here. So he's coping super hard right now. And this is Dan Lawless is one of those guys who's just a complete sycophant of Ethan Van Sciver. So look at this here. Hey, cool, Wart the Wizard. Yay, a Pit movie. Wow. Oh, look at me. This guy hates me because I'm ComicsGate, the Graybeard studio with legendary artist Ethan Van Sciver. Wow. He's like a free promotional account. And, these guys all do this because they get hopes that they're going to get promoted back. And that's all it's all about with these people every single time. They'll promote me back, and then the thing is, like, he'll get himself going quite a bit, and then you'll get like some scraps from his little table. And then what you'll find out is you don't have your own audience because nobody actually backed your book, Dan, because they liked your book or cared about your book. They just backed it because it was they were pay pigs on a live stream. And that doesn't work. That's why we're building readership here to different. It's so crucial to do it differently. And so that's why I don't really live stream either. But here it is. Lately, I've been putting together my thoughts on ComicsGate and why we're having so many issues throughout the year. So I can tell you why. It's this guy right here dedicating his entire life to trying to tear down any independent creator who doesn't do what he says all the time or just go with his flow all the time or that he doesn't feel like is useful to him. That's it. I mean, this guy's a huge narcissist who has just used a ton of people through the years, does not care about comics, doesn't care about the movement of ComicsGate, doesn't care about the customers, doesn't deliver to customers. I mean, so this is just a big insult to anybody's intelligences, right? But, Dan, I hope you get your scraps, man. I mean, there's not a lot of scraps left. It's dwindling so fast. The reason he's delaying campaigns and not launching campaigns and things like that is he knows the gig's up. And, this one here, when he launches this, even though he's got Graham Nolan, this is just like, these guys, like, are ordered to do this kind of thing. And look at this. Are you ready for Ethan Van Sciver's next great book? Yeah, you're right. You're right, Graham Nolan. Now, this guy, simped for Ethan Van Sciver so hard, he sat on a live stream where Ethan Van Sciver called his longtime partner and Bane co-creator at Batman, Chuck Dixon. Ethan called him a has-been. And Graham just sat there and didn't stick up for his buddy. This is how Graham Nolan sold his soul. And now he's like forced to promote Ethan's crap that's never going to even come out just so he can get on that show so he can try to promote his book for a little bit. Well, his books are selling half of what they were last year. Graham Nolan's are even. And so are Aaron Lopresti's. Guys, jump off that ship. It's not worth it. Like, you might get a few $1,000s now, but at this point, you need to start building your own platforms and rebuild from scratch. Otherwise, you're going to be doing it a year from now when there's even less people who are paying attention to you. I mean, it's like the short-sightedness is so stupid from these people. But, these are people who worked for Marvel and DC Comics for decades for, a pittance of a page rate and just sat there and just took it because that was all you could do in the industry. So this is all they know is just following the lead of some scumbag, because that's what Marvel and DC is, following editorial scumbags like Tom Brevoort and just asking for scraps. And it's really tragic, isn't it? I feel bad for these people. But here it is. I feel it can be summed up in this way, that a number of people in CG have forgotten or never understood in the first place what a consumer movement is. Yeah, there's no consumer movement here, all right? There's nobody who's reading comic books here at all. A consumer movement, as pertains to CG, is a movement of people who are dissatisfied with the quality of comics coming from the mainstream. I mean, does this really... Nobody even reads comics from the mainstream comic book industry. This is such a 2018 has-been line. It's like, what are you doing? I call out the comic book industry all the time. They're bad, but Ethan Van Sciver is equally bad. And by the way, if you read the books by like John Malin, you want to talk about poor quality? Holy crap. I mean, it's unbelievable. The solution to this problem should be simple. Seek and find the best possible writers and artists you can. We are. We're doing it. We're doing it, brother. This is what it's all over here, and that's why we're winning. That's why we keep growing over here. People care about this here, and then I show off other people's like great stuff too. I love Josh Howard, another one who's doing really great. He just finished up his Dead at 17 Kickstarter, which is amazing. Bill Williams, his book Punchline, which has never been promoted. That guy's barely makes any money on stuff like that, but his book's beautiful. It's got art by Matt Weldon. Fantastic stuff. We have Midnight's War from Chuck Dixon and Vox Day, which is on Arcaven Comics. These books are leaps and bounds better than anything on the CG Kings stuff, guys. And you just won't hear of it anywhere except for right now and here, right? And yeah, I stealth talk about these people, right? Because that's how you get it. I got you in. Now you're on my Substack. Now you are reading my comics and you understand that. Now you know what I think about my comic book writing and things like that. And so you go, okay, I'm gonna write down that Josh Howard guy's name. And that this is how you do it. I know how to build stuff, guys, and we're working on it. This is the right place to be. Everything these guys ever promised, we're actually delivering, and while they're not, which is great. The problem with Marvel and DC is they put their needs ahead of the consumer, politics, blah 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 blah. Okay, whatever. No, the problem is they're leftist commie idiots who have no talent. That's all. Now I'm seeing the same destructive attitude creeping into CG. There's some creators angry their books are not being promoted or backed, so they openly... this is like a guy, again, from like 2018 acting like this. And this is covering up for the fact that Ethan's just never come out with his books. He's not producing quality. He's not producing anything worthwhile. He's just not producing. He's just sitting on a live stream and just collecting super chats. And it's fake. I talked about how I'm pretty sure Shane Davis's campaign is fake. I'm pretty sure all these guys' backings are fake too, because Indiegogo allows you to do one thing, and this is why they've stayed on Indiegogo and fought Kickstarter so hard. You can back a project multiple times on Indiegogo, and it shows up as another backer in addition to the money. So if you're Ethan Van Sciver, and you can go in there with your account or whatever, or secondary account, because I don't think you can back your own book, so you build a second account. You can back the book 100 times right away to prime it and make it look like there's $10,000 and 100 backers like in minutes, right? Because you just click. And then you pay a little bit of a fee to Indiegogo on that front. But because it looks so successful, everybody else comes in, because the most marketing that's done is not based on, this Cyberfrog concept of a story, blah, 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 blah. I'm sitting here like being like, you can read my comic directly, and I have a Hugo Award-nominated editor who says it's the best superhero book of the last 10 years. That's pretty huge, right? This is like, Cyberfrog, it's going to be gone in 48 hours. Don't back it now. This variant cover is blue instead of purple. That's that's how they market their books, right? And so it's not about quality. It's not about doing anything like that. This is all fake, and it's such a cope, and it's all because of the Mindy and Mike Wheeler Rainbow the Brute thing. This is the attitude Stan Lee and Jack Kirby had, and every other creator who tried to build the comic book industry. By the way, the comic book industry is cutthroat. They try to tear each other down as fast as possible. They try to tear the other companies down. This is all fake too. I mean, this is ridiculous. If you're out there attacking professionals, wait, hold on. Isn't this Ethan Van Sciver's entire business model right now? He goes on and attacks Eric July and Rippaverse every single day for hours and hours of live streams. That's what they do. He's not even making books. He's busy just attacking Eric. I just, by the way, finished reading The Great War of Separation 1 and 2 and Zalen from the Rippaverse, which were fantastic. Probably the best books. Again, every time I read a new Rippaverse book, it's like it's so much better than the last one because they listen to the actual customers and go, okay, you know, this was a problem with this book and blah, 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 blah. And they go, okay, so let's fix that in the next one. That's how you work. That's how you operate as a company and actually listen to. You want to talk about consumer movements and listening to customers. They're actually doing it, right? Zalen was really fun science fiction. It was like a cross between Nexus and Green Lantern. And so it was a lot of fun. And with this like mystery that's building up about his origins, because he's like he's a construct made by some unknown entities, and he doesn't even know why he's made, but he goes out there and he just fights evil on behalf of a group called the Sentinels. That's why it's like I feel like it's like the Guardians. And super fun and beautiful. Joe Bennett art. It's like it's fantastic. And the Great War of Separation actually goes and it gives backstory and kind of shows you Isem's origin. It kind of shows you Alpha Core's origin. And actually shows why the world's set up like it is. This is something, again, like it's like, okay, it's all out there now, and they're actually doing it. So that's it. So this is funny, and I wish they'd take their own advice here, because if you're not on the side of the consumer, you're like, again, they're selling tens of thousands of books. Ethan's dwindling in his stuff. You're only serving yourself, and as a creator, you'll be destined for failure. Wow, listen to this, Ethan Van Sciver. This is crazy. If you believe serving the consumer, you care about their needs, you should want absolute best that can be provided for them. You should support comics that can be competitive with Marvel and DC Comics. Yeah, like Rippaverse. That's the only road to a successful movement. Yeah, this is very funny. And with this whole rant, again, it's very much projection. And that's what gamma males do, is they project every single time when they get into this stuff. You want to talk about quality. I am producing leather-bound editions, and actually showed this yesterday. Here's actually, we have the highest quality books ever produced with real leather, and you can see the beautiful like printed edges with this cool design on it that we did. And then here's our gold-plated foil stamp that we're doing on this. We have the highest premium quality comics. This is my Overmind and Hidden Emperor. You can't buy these, so I'm not even promoting it on that level. They're sold out. And this is what my backers are getting while Ethan Van Sciver's live streaming. You want to talk, compete with Marvel and DC. Yeah, I'm not producing that cheap paper floppy crap. I'm producing stuff that lasts forever now. And that's what we're doing over here. So very funny, massive projection, and it's all because of Mindy and Mike Wheeler and what they've done. This is a huge reaction to that as they're just spurging out over there. And they're going to collapse. This collapse is just getting started, and he's way nervous about launching this campaign. That's why he's having all these guys pull out the stops to try to go, there's a new Cyberfrog book coming, guys. Like that'll get people in. And by the way, Graham Nolan, when he posted this, he got way ratioed. Nope, I'd rather drink Kool-Aid. I'll back it as soon as I get the ComicsGate comics I've been working for. Look at how he tries to sweep for this. Like I said, Graham Nolan's really sold his soul. And it's really sad because this guy, he's supposed to be a Catholic. He's actually a talented guy. And he's become just this like really awful person. I don't understand why. It's very sad. Back as soon as I get that. I don't support anything ComicsGate now. I mean, he's didn't go well for you guys. Maybe. And you know, I don't want anybody here to fail. I'd love Graham Nolan to come back, rededicate himself to like building a real Christian conservative movement in comics and do it. I'd like Ethan Van Sciver to do that too, and actually work on the comics and stop with like fighting Rippaverse all the time and me all the time and stuff like that. They can't do it. This is all they know. They want to be a blood sports channel first and comics last. And what we need is comics first, and then that to go away. is really what's happening. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Also, grab my comics here. They're in the description below. This is the Substack. This is the spot to be. This is the webcomic spot. Thank you, everybody, especially all the paid subscribers. We got a bunch this week, and you're amazing. We'll be back soon.